Hello, I'm Julia and I'm going to explain what is the cloud, and it's just a nice simple explanation for normal people just like you. So why does the cloud confuse people? Well, lots of people just really don't know what it is. They might think it's this sort of magical place. It's got this mysterious vault. Is it something floating in the sky? And they can be quite afraid of it, and maybe that's you. But I'm going to get rid of that confusion really easily for you. So the real definition is just someone else's computer. And it is usually stored safely in a large building, a data center. So companies that have racks of computers that are just there to store your files. It's not someone else's computer down the road in their basement or in their shed. It's not that situation. They will be big companies usually with lots and lots of computers to store your data. So how does it actually work? Well, your device connects to the internet, which then connects you to the cloud servers, and then you can send that data back to you on a different device or the same device. So it is quite simple the way it works. We're just utilizing the internet to transfer those files, usually without you even knowing that it's happening once you've set it up. So there are lots and lots of cloud providers. The big companies like Apple, they have iCloud, Microsoft have OneDrive, Google have their own Google Drive. There's other ones, for example, Dropbox, and you might know the name of other ones or use other providers. There's plenty out there, but you do have to be careful that you don't use one that could be, for example, a scammer. Try and stick to the big companies. So why on earth would we use the cloud? Well, you probably are using it anyway, but it helps us back up our data, back up our photos automatically if we set it up that way. And we can access our files anywhere as long as we have an internet connection. So that means that we don't have to have, a SD drive or some kind of flash drive to take our files everywhere or transfer them between devices. We can just access our drive via the internet and we get access to our files. And that means that we can free up device space. So we can have devices with smaller hard drives. We don't have to spend a lot of money on a device with a lot of space on it. We can just use our cloud. You can share easily as well. So, for example, I use Dropbox with a lot of my students and I can share files. I just give them the link and they can download the files without sort of any kind of, email with a large attachment. They can just click on the device. As long as they're connected to the internet, then they can use that. And they are also good at giving us a backup so we can avoid losing everything. And that's a really important part of why we would use the cloud. So using the cloud can feel complicated. So one of the things to be really clear about is the difference between syncing your files and backing them up. Your cloud drives will try and make sure that if you delete a file, for example, it will sync it everywhere. So if you delete a photo, for example, on your phone, and you have that on your drive, on your computer, your laptop, then it will delete it there as well. So you need to be careful that you don't make the mistake of deleting files thinking that it's still there because it's on the cloud. It's not. It will try and sync your devices depending on what you want it to do. So obviously if you want to delete those photographs, it will delete it everywhere. We can also back up our devices. So as I said earlier, one of the really good advantages of a cloud is to back up your data so that if you do want to back up not on your device, say you've got, I don't know, you're writing a novel and you want your 50,000 words backed up, you can store it on the cloud and know that if your laptop got broken or stolen, then you've still got your novel to release whenever you want to. So just remember there, syncing, if you delete a file on any device, then it will delete it on the cloud. Permanently, usually actually, I say permanently, but normally what they'll do is put it into a file for 30 days in sort of a trash can and then delete everything after 30 days. So do keep an eye on that if you do sort of delete files or photographs. A backup will keep an off-site copy of your files so that, if your house burns down, then you've still got your files. Another thing about why the cloud can feel complicated is different companies do use different names. So obviously Apple, it's really clear, it's iCloud. We've got OneDrive, it's still the same thing. It's just those different companies with their data centers storing your files. The storage can fill up as well. So, very quickly, if normally these companies will give you a free amount, as I said, and they can fill up quite easily. They're only going to give you a small amount because every bit of file that you store on their devices, their data centers, that is costing them money. So they do want to try and make you pay effectively, which is fair enough. They're a business, but do try and sort of stick to one company. The settings are hidden, so there are some other settings that you can do to sort of automatically download files or delete files if they're in your trash can, for example. There's other settings like automatically uploading photographs, etc. So just keep an eye on, if it's not behaving quite the way you want it to, then have a look at the settings because it could be one of those is not correct. So how much storage do you actually need? Well, a rough guide is if you've just got light use, then you probably need between about 5 and 10 gigabytes. If you're storing photos, then between 50 and 200 gigabytes. And if you've got family storage, then 200 plus gigabytes. Videos always take a lot of space, even MP4s, which are compressed. So yeah, you might need even more. And obviously, as time goes forward, I'm recording this in November 2025. If there are, the storage requirements do go up as time goes on. So our files do seem to get bigger and bigger. If you're not storing videos, then yeah, you can get away with a lot less storage actually. So some common mistakes to avoid. Try not to use multiple cloud apps. Now I've put this here, and I did say I use Dropbox and I use Apple iCloud, but I have clear, distinct reasons why I do that. I use Dropbox for my students and I use iCloud for my own personal and work private files that I don't want my students to have access to. It can get confusing as well. So, you're trying to find files and you don't know where you've put them. Is it on, Google Docs or is it on Apple iCloud? Just try and stick to one because it will just avoid confusion. And I mentioned earlier that if you delete a photo on a device and it's synced with the cloud, then it will delete it for everywhere. So just be really careful if you're deleting photos. Just assume that you're deleting it forever if you are doing it. It's very easy to forget your password for your iCloud. I've lost count how many times I've had to reset mine and my family ones. But yeah, try and have a password keychain. That's the easiest way to avoid forgetting passwords. And try not to upload onto the cloud without Wi-Fi. In fact, sometimes they will ask you, if you're downloading or uploading a file, do you want to do this without Wi-Fi? Because if you have a mobile phone data allowance per month, then you don't want to hit that just from uploading stuff onto the cloud. So you want to make sure that the setting on your phone is only upload if you are connected to Wi-Fi. And be really careful that you're not paying for storage you don't use. So do, every maybe 6 to 12 months, just check to see, am I using enough of the storage that I'm paying for? Do I need to just cut back on the amount I'm paying for? Because each different company will give you a different plan for different amounts of storage. So just check that as well. So my final tips are, the cloud is a safe, simple and helpful place once you understand it. So just take a few minutes to check your settings, make sure that you've got them optimized for you. You should usually only need one service and make sure that you have a strong, unique password to access it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get more videos like this.